Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers are going to be a major problem in the NFC. Usually when you hear about top contenders in the NFC, you'll hear teams like the Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions, San Francisco 49ers when they're fully healthy, and rightfully so. But when I look at the Green Bay Packers, they have the talent to go out there and to be in the same conversation with some of the elite teams in the NFL. We're going to discuss what the team has done in free agency, the same with the NFL draft over the last couple of off seasons. But we have to start off with Coach LaFleur. He has been an amazing head coach. He's one of the best head coaches in the NFL. When you look at his record with the Green Bay Packers, it's tremendous. All time, he is 70-38 with this organization. In the postseason, he is 3-5, but he is getting them to the big dance over and over again in the playoffs scenarios. When you look at Coach LaFleur, he was able to get the most out of Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers won an MVP with Coach LaFleur on his way out before they traded him to the New York Jets. You look at Jordan Love so far, back-to-back years, playoff quarterback, playoff team. And we were able to see the work that he could do with Malik Willis. More on that in the next couple of minutes. But Coach LaFleur, he's an amazing head coach. But let's start off with the roster by talking about Jordan Love here. In 2023, first full year as a starter, 4,159 passing yards, 32 passing touchdowns to 11 interceptions. It was an up and down year. For the first half of that season, he threw a lot of interceptions. You saw a quarterback that had some big time moments. But he also had some moments that made you scratch your head, but was a part of the journey with Jordan Love. Even though he got to sit down the first 2 years of his career behind Aaron Rodgers, it was still a learning curve for him. A lot of the throws he was able to make at the college level, he just couldn't make at the NFL level just yet. But in the back half of that season, this man had 18 passing touchdowns to 1 interception. He was phenomenal for the rest of the season. They will go on to finish 9-8 in the 2023 year. They went against the Dallas Cowboys, and we know how that ended for the Dallas Cowboys. They blew the doors off of Dallas, and they were the away team. That is rare for a young quarterback to go on the road and dominate and have the poise that he did. Give Aaron Jones a lot of credit. Give the defense a lot of credit. But Jordan Love was red hot against the San Francisco 49ers the next week during this playoff run. He came out hot. But he did have a bad interception towards the end of the game. Potential game-winning drive, he throws an interception towards the middle of the field, similar to what Brett Favre did against the New Orleans Saints many decades ago. Those growing pains are going to happen with a young quarterback in Jordan Love. But he's already proved that he can win a playoff game and he can lead this team to getting to the NFL playoffs. Now, in year 2 with him being a full starter, he took a step back, but it was because he was a terrible player. He got injured week 1 in Brazil against the Philadelphia Eagles. He hurt his knee, MCL sprain, but it opened up something for Coach LaFleur. Coach LaFleur never put a huge emphasis on the run game with the Packers. Aaron Jones, very good running back in the past with Green Bay. He's still a very good running back right now with the Minnesota Vikings. The reason why they moved off of him, he dealt with a lot of injuries. He was inconsistent, and it hurt the game plan with Coach LaFleur from week to week. When he's dealing with a rib injury, he's dealing with a hamstring injury, it's hard to depend on him. But they went in free agency last year and they brought in Josh Jacobs. As soon as Jordan Love went down, you saw Coach LaFleur go out there. They made a trade to bring in Malik Willis. Malik Willis is not the same passer as Aaron Rodgers. He's not the same passer as Jordan Love, but he's a better athlete than both of those quarterbacks. He put a huge emphasis on the run game, and the attention to detail was there. He was using more motion plays with Christian Watson behind the line of scrimmage, running behind him as a lead blocker, because he is the biggest wide receiver on their roster right now, using the tight end in motion with Tucker Kraft, going out there and putting a huge emphasis on the run game, something that Coach LaFleur has not done before in the past. And they ran a lot of run plays over and over again with Josh Jacobs, and the same with Malik Willis while Jordan Love was out. And Malik Willis was able to rewrite his story with the Packers. Let's not forget with the Tennessee Titans, this man has 0 passing touchdowns. He comes over to the Packers. He's looking very successful. He did not look like a franchise quarterback, but he was able to manage the game and take those deep throws. It wasn't a situation to where they're saying, hey, Malik Willis, only throw the football 15 times a game. He'll have him throw the football 20 to 25 times in certain matchups if he had to, but he didn't have to. It was a lot of read option plays with Malik Willis, a lot of RPO plays, and they were able to be successful without Jordan Love. And you have to give Malik Willis a lot of credit for going out there and being able to work with Coach LaFleur. But at the same time, this is how coaching should work in the NFL. So many times before in the past, we'll see coaches go out there, they try to fit these players to fit their system. They're not going out there and they're not coaching up the players, and they're basically not coaching to their strengths. Coach LaFleur has done that with Aaron Rodgers. He's done that with Jordan Love, and the same with Malik Willis. And as soon as Jordan Love came back, they didn't force Jordan Love to be the end-all be-all with this offense like how he had to be in year number 1 as a full starter. It was more so of a complementary offense with Josh Jacobs, working off of play action with Jordan Love, a lot of play action bootlegs to the right. What really hurt Jordan Love in 2024 was a simple fact that this man was dealing with that groin injury. He was not able to have the same mobility that he had in 2023, and it showed. This team went 1-5 in the division, but a lot of football games were close against the Minnesota Vikings, the same against the Detroit Lions. He had a terrible interception against the Detroit Lions, but he's legit limping towards the right, and he's trying to throw the football off the back foot. It just didn't work out. So even though he did not have a great season in 2024 statistically, he had 25 pass touchdowns to 11 interceptions, we still got to see Jordan Love develop and make some smart decisions. But the injuries held him back. I wish they would have took a couple more weeks off. They go with Malik Willis. If you lose a couple of football games, it's okay. You can still make the playoffs. They made the playoffs when they went 9-8 in year number 1 with Jordan Love. You just want to protect your asset in Jordan. But when I look at Coach LaFleur with a healthy Jordan Love, the sky's the limit for this offense. Besides Jordan dealing with his injuries, the offense took a major step forward with Josh Jacobs being the main focal point. And this is the same running back a few years back with the Las Vegas Raiders, led the league in rushing. He didn't have elite quarterback play. He didn't have an elite offensive line. He didn't have great weapons on the perimeter. He got to play with Davante Adams. But Davante Adams was missing games. He was dealing with injuries. But you look at Josh Jacobs last year, 6th most carries, 301 carries, 1,329 rushing yards. That was the 6th most in football. 15 rushing touchdowns. That was the 4th most. He averaged 4.4 yards a carry. And you have Marshawn Lloyd, who can be a very good running back out of USC. We'll see what he can do for this upcoming year. 6 carries, 15 rushing yards last season. Not the best. You want to get more out of him. And you have Emmanuel Wilson. Emmanuel Wilson averaged 5 yards a carry last year, 502 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns. He's obviously the second best running back right now on this roster behind Josh Jacobs. But I would like to see Marshawn Lloyd go out there and have a huge impact with the Packers. It's the reason why you selected him in the NFL draft. But the running back room is set. The offensive line, I love what they have up front with Rasheed Walker at the left tackle position, Zach Tom, right tackle position. You have Elton Jenkins at the center spot, Aaron Banks, left guard, and you drafted Anthony Belton in the 2nd round from NC State, who's 6'6", 336 pounds. He could be a starting tackle sooner than later, and you could put him in certain heavy formations on the goal line. This is now a Packers team that knows they can run the football in this division, and you have to be tough. So getting a big offensive lineman like this is definitely going to help out in the pass protection game, and also definitely going to help you out in the rushing department with Josh Jacobs. You just want to make sure that you put the most weapons around Jordan Love. Even though I love what the Packers have done over the last 4 to 5 years, I'm just going to be honest here. I love what they have done historically. From going from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love, you are definitely doing something right. Brett Favre was able to win a championship with this organization. The same with Aaron Rodgers, multiple MVPs. I think that Jordan Love, sooner than later, can deliver another Super Bowl to the Green Bay Packers. It's the Green Bay Packer mold. We draft a quarterback. We let him develop for a couple of years. Then we push him out there. And the Packers have done a great job of that. The one weakness with Green Bay, since they traded Davante Adams, they haven't had that true game changer on the outside at the wide receiving position. Romeo Doubs is a very good football player, but he had a lot of problems over the last few years in terms of possibly wanting to be traded. He was complaining about not getting used as much. The man has 601 receiving yards this year, 4 receiving touchdowns, average 13 yards a catch. That's more so of a number 2 wide receiver. Jaden Reed, very good wide receiver, 857 receiving yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, average 16 yards a catch. More so of a number 2 wide receiver. Dontavian Wicks, very good player. Look at the numbers that he was able to give you. He was solid on the year. 415 receiving yards, 5 receiving touchdowns, average a first down a catch. It's more so of a number 2 to number 3 wide receiver. Most of these wide receivers would be number 2s and number 3s elsewhere. They were trying to go wide receiver by committee, and it can work out for you because they're all so young. They can develop with Jordan Love, but you have to have that game changer on the outside. Look at these examples. Big Ben early on in his career, he had Hines Ward with the Steelers. He had Antonio Brown towards the end of his career. Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills realized we need to get a number 1 wide receiver. Let's go trade for Stephon Diggs. Let's bring him over to the organization. We've seen teams do this before in the past. Aaron Rodgers, he had Jordy Nelson, who was a very good wide receiver. Brett Favre had his favorite targets on the outside. And I look at Jordan Love. He hasn't had that true game-changing wide receiver just yet. On paper, it should be Christian Watson. This is a man that could be one of the fastest wide receivers in all of football. And he has the size. He's 6'5", 210 pounds. But he gave you 620 receiving yards on only 29 catches, 2 receiving touchdowns. He averaged 21 yards a catch. This is the problem with Christian Watson. He can't stay healthy. And he may miss majority of this upcoming season recovery from that ACL injury that he suffered late in the year. And I like Christian Watson, but he hasn't been that guy just yet. He's not that game changer. He's not consistent. 1 week, he may give you 125 receiving yards, 2 receiving touchdowns. The next week, he may only give you 35 receiving yards. That's why in the first round, you drafted Matthew Golden out of Texas, who can be this true game changer. Now, a lot of scouts will just look at Matthew Golden and they'll say he's a speed wide receiver. He's more than just that. He can win 50-50 catches. This man had 57 catches last year with Texas, 908 receiving yards, 987 receiving yards, 9 receiving touchdowns. He could have easily had over 1,000 receiving yards if he had better quarterback play, which with Arch Manning, he performed very well. With Quinn Ewers, he was very inconsistent. Quinn Ewers was not a consistent quarterback with Texas. He missed a lot of throws. But Matthew Golden can stretch out the field. He can win underneath. He's a do-it-all wide receiver. Now, I believe on day 1, he's going to be the best wide receiver in this room. But it's time for him to go out there and to have his true guy. And I'm talking about Jordan Love in this conversation. They have to get down to wide receiving position. Look at what happened against the Philadelphia Eagles in that playoff game. Even though Jordan Love had 0 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions, you never want to see that with your franchise quarterback. But the wide receivers, they were getting hurt. They had a lot of drop passes, and they just couldn't get open on a consistent rate. It's only so much your quarterback can do when the wide receivers can't get open. And you have a gunslinger in Jordan Love. Eventually, he's going to get frustrated because we're still young in his career. He's going to try to go out there and force throws. And that's what he did against the Philadelphia Eagles. And it did not work out in their favor. And it's okay. There's no shame in losing to the Eagles. The Eagles won the Super Bowl this previous year. But at the same time, Jordan Love does have to step up. Give him a full offseason. He can be fully healthy. I'll look at Jordan Love as a top quarterback in football when he's red hot. If he could be more consistent with this run game with Josh Jacobs, he's going to be fine. Very good offensive line. And I look at this wide receiving core. They're deep right now. We'll see what happens with Christian Watson. When I look at the tight end position, Tucker Kraft, he's a very good tight end. Very underrated. As a blocker and especially as a receiving threat, he averaged 14 yards a catch. 707 receiving yards, 7 receiving touchdowns on only 50 catches. He's a for sure-handed tight end. Those intermediate routes, he's there for you. Goal line situations, he's there for you. He's a big play tight end. He had a huge play against the Los Angeles Rams a couple of years ago and a huge play against the Minnesota Vikings just this previous year. He's a big play tight end. Continue to build up that chemistry with him and Jordan Love. But when I talk about main contenders in the NFC, the Green Bay Packers, they're right there. When I look at this division, it's going to be a bloodbath. You have the Minnesota Vikings. Kevin O'Connell's one of the best head coaches in football as well. But his playoff record isn't the best. That roster is stacked with Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, but a brand new quarterback in J.J. McCarthy. We'll see how he can perform in his second year, first full year as a starter, if he can stay fully healthy. Caleb Williams with the Chicago Bears. There's a lot of hype with that organization, rightfully so. At the same time with the Bears, brand new head coach in Ben Johnson. Can he go out there? Can he outcoach Coach LaFleur? We'll see. There's already a little rivalry there between Coach LaFleur and Ben Johnson. Then you have the Detroit Lions, 2 brand new coordinators, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Usually that can work into your favor. That can also work against you. There's continuity here with the Packers, with Jordan Love. He's comfortable with Coach LaFleur and this offensive line and the rest of these wide receivers. So offensively, they're set. And they did draft Savion Williams from TCU, 6'4", 220 pounds, big possession wide receiver that can go downfield, can be a huge deep threat. He could be the Christian Watson replacement, but he can also go out there and run routes better than Christian Watson. So at wide receiver, they're set right now. It may take some time, but they're better off right now than they were a year ago with the talent that they added. And they selected Savion Williams in the 3rd round. Defensively, they took a major step forward. For so many years, Joe Barry was a terrible defensive coordinator. They couldn't stop the run. They were terrible against the pass. And that's been the Achilles heel with the Packers, even in the past and Aaron Rodgers. Their defense is not good enough. Well, you bring in Jeff Hafley. They fired Joe Barry. Shout out to Coach LaFleur again. You have this man that comes over from Boston College as the head coach. He's a defensive coordinator. In year number 1, the Packers had a very good defense, 7th in rushing, a top passing defense. Xavier McKinney. You also picked him up in free agency with Josh Jacobs. He doesn't get enough love, in my opinion. Xavier McKinney comes over from the New York Giants. This man had 8 interceptions last year, 11 pass deflections. That was the 2nd most interceptions for a player in football. Should have been the Defensive Player of the Year candidate. But how elite he was on the back end of this defense, they depended on him a lot because of the injuries with Jair Alexander. I have a lot to say about Jair Alexander in the next couple of minutes. But Xavier McKinney, he was awesome. The one problem that I have with the Packers, it's not their rushing defense, obviously. It's their pass rushing situation. Now, you have players like Kenny Clark, Lucas Van Ness, Devontae Wyatt, Rashawn Gary. They should be able to feast on quarterbacks on a consistent rate, but they were so inconsistent. Rashawn Gary, very good run stopper, 7.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble. That's solid, but he needs to be better. He needs to be more consistent. Lucas Van Ness was more so of a rotational pass rusher, but 3 sacks last season, 1 forced fumble. He needs to be better moving forward. Kenny Clark, elite against the run. He needs to be better in terms of getting to the passer and beating off those double teams over and over again. And I look at someone like Devontae Wyatt, 5 sacks last year. They will have their moments to where they can get to the passer over and over again. And then the next couple of drives, they just disappear. They need to be better off as a unit up front with different twists and different stunts. And Jeff Hafley got away from that as the season went on. He needs to be more creative up front with his defensive line rotations and how he wants to get to the quarterback. It's more than just going out there and just having your tackle one-on-one with a center or with a guard and have your edge rusher one-on-one with a tackle. You need to go out there and scheme up pressure, especially with the guys you have up front. And I believe that it's 50-50. It's defensive play calling, and it's the same with the players. The players need to be better. By looking at the defensive play caller, he's going to be fine long-term. Just find a way to get more pressure on that quarterback position. And I'm telling you, Green Bay and this secondary would definitely benefit because of it. Now, they cut Jair Alexander. I love this move. He was not able to stay fully healthy. He's an elite cornerback when he's healthy, but he's rarely healthy. He's missed so much time over the last 2 years. We'll see what he could do with the Baltimore Ravens. The problem that I have with Jair Alexander, I'll never forget the game against the Carolina Panthers. This man goes out there. He goes against what the coach wants on the coin toss. You can't do that. You have to follow what the coach says. I know that he's defensive captain. He's this great cover corner, but he became a problem with the Packers. He didn't want to take a pay cut. He couldn't stay healthy. And I'm all for getting your money. But when you can only play 7 games in the last 2 years, that says a lot about you. And I look at Jair, very good player. But I look at the young cornerbacks that they have now. Now they can breathe. They don't have to worry about getting plugged out of the lineup for this veteran player in Jair. That sucks when you have a very good game for 3 weeks in a row. Well, Jair's fully healthy. It's time to push Jair back out there, and now you're on the bench. These young corners don't have to worry about that anymore. You have Carrington Valentine, who did have a very good season. 2 forced fumbles, 2 interceptions, 5 pass deflections, and he's only 23 years old. He'll continue to get better. Nate Hobbs had some big-time moments with the Las Vegas Raiders inside that slot. 5 pass deflections, 1 interception. He can be a very good player long-term for you. You have Keyshawn Nixon, 7 pass deflections, 1 interception, 3 forced fumbles, 61 solo tackles. And you had Evan Williams, who was able to go out there and have a very productive season. 31 solo tackles, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception, 3 pass deflections. This defense depended a lot on Jair Alexander early on in his career. And we've seen them with Jeff Hafley go out there and get away from that. They depended a lot on Xavier McKinney. They depend a lot on their safeties and a lot of press man coverage in certain situations. The Packers, they have a very good football team. Now look at their linebackers here. Quay Walker, huge fan of him. Productive, very good player. Edgerrin Cooper, very good middle linebacker. 3.5 sacks, 1 forced fumble, 1 interception. This man's a very good tackle machine. And the same with Isaiah McDuffie. The Packers have done a great job of going out there and finding players in the NFL draft and developing them. They don't make major trades to bring in players. They don't go into free agency and bring in big time names every single year just because. Sure, they'll bring in someone like Josh Jacobs. They'll bring in someone like Xavier McKinney, but they hit on their big time free agents 9 times out of 10. In order for the Packers to be very successful for this upcoming year, they need Jordan Love to perform like a superstar quarterback, and I believe that he will. And they need this defense to take that next step forward with Jeff Hafley, but they're on their way. They did go 1 and done against the Philadelphia Eagles, but once again, it's growing pains with Jordan Love. Be patient with him. He's done more in his career so far than what most veteran quarterbacks have done in their career up to this point. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you feel about the Green Bay Packers, and do you see them as a top seed in the NFC? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for the video, guys. God bless. Peace.